Hey everybody, Poster 2, I'm out in the garage again today, go figure. I am working on cleaning up the block. Actually what I'm doing is I'm cleaning the mating surfaces on these heads, the block mating surface to the heads there. Anyways, and I am looking, I thought I would discuss how do I go about cleaning these guys up. And it's basically a two-step method is what I use. My first step is to take ye old putty knife, which has a pretty good angle on it. I don't know if you can see it there. Yeah, there you go. It's got a pretty good angle on it. I use that and I just go through and I scrape the entire deck surface with the putty knife and try and get any high spots that I can out of it. Okay. Then what I do after there's a little bit left there. Try and get that off. So I hit that. Get that cleaned up as best I can. Then I go through with my red shop rag and try and clean it up, which I had just gone over with the putty knife, and you can still see that there's still some residual left on it. So what I do next is I grab a razor blade. This is a straight safety razor, and I use it in a way. I try to keep the razor blade completely flat to the surface, and I scrape off anything that comes back. And you can see that while it's a little bit discolored, I've gotten off all of the stuff. There's nothing there. You can't fill it with your fingernails, so that cleans it up pretty well. So, yep, I'll go through and I'll do that. And then I have which I still have to do. Then over here hanging on the wall, I have my straight edge, which I keep up there so that it doesn't get banged around, as well as by hanging it, it helps keep it flat. So yeah, that it doesn't get out of whack, at least any further than what it is. It's not a Starrett or anything. It's not I forget what they call it, double A or whatever grade. It is a medium to good, we'll say, straight edge, and it does just fine for what I needed to do. The deck, to check the deck on the block, it's I just went up and I had to find it. Where's it at? I can't find that. I guess it's right there. Let's see if it'll focus on it. And it's upside down, isn't it? But it is, here, let me get that right side up. Yep, this is the size. It says over 6 inches that it should not be out of 3/1000ths of an inch. So that's what I'm using, is 3/1000ths feeler gauge. There was one area I've already cleaned up this side down here and have checked it. And there was one spot that was a little bit, where was it at? It was right in here, that I felt was borderline. And what it comes down to is this is going to be a stock rebuild for the most part, and in doing so, I don't see any massive cylinder pressures or anything like that. Now later on, I do actually plan on turboing this thing, so it's going to require a little bit of extra work. And when I go to that, I'm going to put a whole different rotating assembly in it. Might stroke it, don't know. But when I do that, I will probably clean up the deck surfaces, just have them skim it so that it will be nice and smooth, and it comes out shiny when they do that, anyways. So that's where I'm at, and that's what I'm doing today with the block, and I'll let you guys know if there's any real issues with it. I did want to mention a couple things I just forgot about. One of the reasons why you want to hold the blade perpendicular, as perpendicular as you can with it, is the idea is not to gouge into the metal. If you're going like this, a razor blade is sharp enough that you can damage the surface of the block. You don't want to do that. All you're trying to do is just eliminate any high spots that might be on the block. When you go to measure it, when you go to do a like that there, yeah, I'll have to clean that a little bit better. That is pretty wild right there. What is that? Anyway, I'll look at that in a second. But when you go to when you go to throw your feeler gauge down on a block surface, if it isn't clean, if the high spots aren't off of the block, it can force the straight edge up and cause a misreading on it. So you want it as clean as you can get it, as flat as you can get it. And by doing that, it'll help out with your measurements, and it'll allow it to be that way you don't get a false positive with your feeler gauge, you know, passing under the straight edge, that kind of stuff. You just don't want to do it. And as I can tell on it right now, I still got a little bit of cleanup before I can measure it, but it's in pretty good shape right now, I think. We'll get it cleaned up a little better. I just want to mention that. To give you guys an idea how I go about checking the deck surface, I want to measure it in several different directions. And see, I got the feeler gauge and the straight edge here. So what I'm going to do, first of all, I'm going to try and clean this off without solvent. Just take a rag and clean it off and get as much dirt and crud, whatever left behinds are off there. Then I'm going to go ahead and clean up. Just take the rag and wipe it over the surface of the straight edge to make sure that there's nothing on there too. Then I'm going to take it and I'm going to measure the block in several different directions. I want to measure it crossways. There's one crossways, there's two crossways. Then I want to measure it from end to end and make sure that on any surface, on any length of surface, that I can actually get it out here. Like here's across the edge of the cylinder bores right here. I want to check there. I want to check here, which is across the top of the cylinder bores, and then up here at the top near where the intake manifold and the valley cover, you know, are right there. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to check it on lengthwise. I don't want to press down on it too much, but I want to keep it steady. So I'm going to keep my thumb on it here in the center. I'm not really putting too much force on it. You want to check it all the way down the length of the straight edge, and the reason for that is that you could have a high spot in the middle. You would think maybe it would just be a low spot in the middle. You could have a high spot in the middle, which would cause the end to rise. And if it does that, not a good thing. So you'd have to get it machined. So I'm going to check it, and what I'm going to do is just check it, see if the feeler gauge passes underneath the straight edge. And I'll do that in both crossways directions here. And you have to be careful with this because it's real easy to tip. Didn't want to do that either. It's real easy to tip and I'm exaggerating, the straight edge over to the side, and then the straight edge would pass underneath of it, and that would give you a false positive. So what I'm going to do is lightly just try and hold on to it so it doesn't move anywhere, and I'm going to check to make sure that the feeler gauge won't pass under it. So I'm going to go down here on this side and check here as well. Oops. All right, and check here at the top of the cylinders. I'm actually going to check from the inside, and this is just my preference. All right, that's good. And I'll check up here again. All right, so the feeler gauge passes along the straight edge without going underneath of it. That means that the deck is pretty much the cylinder head deck is pretty much flat. It doesn't mean it's perfect, but it means it's in pretty good shape and is usable as far as I'm concerned. All right, so you guys might be asking, what is next for this block? What's next on this? I'm going to take the crank out, get the bearings out, put the caps back in it, and I'm going to take this guy to the machine shop to have it hot tanked and have new freeze plugs put in it. There's several different plugs that are in it let's see, they're over here too. I don't think so. Yeah, okay, there's one over there. So you've got 3 small ones. There's one over there, 2 over here, 1 larger one. There's also a plug that sits right here on the block, and that's part of an oil galley that goes all the way through. If I remember right, it goes all the way through out to this end here where, let's see if I can get this, right down there, it's right there, is called, I think it's called barbell is what it's, slang term for it is the barbell. And what that is, it's a plug that has a big plastic piece here, and then another piece on the inside with an O-ring. I think the O-ring goes on the inside. I don't know. It could be on the outside here. And what it does is it diverts oil through through this galley in two different ways. So I think it sets right here. The plug sets right here between these two guys here, and if you can see, that's where the oil comes out and goes through the filter in the oil pan. If you have an oil cooler, it also has which reminds me, I might need to get another. If it has a cooler, that will also bypass out of the cooler or out of the oil pan there in the side. Here, let me show you over here. Here's the old pan, and right there. So it'll have one of two things here. It'll have a little bypass thing that allows oil to go around it. If you put a flat spot in here, if you just put a flat piece to block those two, it will cause you issues. You want to have an oil bypass going around this if you're not using an oil cooler. And this, like I said, you can see the oil filters down here, and that comes through. I don't know which side is which. It goes down into one side and out the other, and that's how your oil gets filtered. All right. Let's see. So, okay, on this one, this is the 5.3 pan, and you can see that this is your oil. I think this is just a bypass. I think I'm not exactly sure what that's for, but I think this is just the bypass is all that does. All right. All right, so yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get the crank out of it, and we'll get the crank cleaned up separately. But the block itself is going to go to the machine shop to get hot tanked and those new plugs and stuff installed, as well as the barbell and new cam bearings. I can't take it there until I've got the cam bearings ordered, haven't received them yet. I don't know how long it's going to be, and hopefully it won't be too long at the machine shop. And to tell you the truth, I haven't even figured out which machine shop it's going to go to yet. But I will get it to one of them. Got the crankshaft out and taking a look at all the bearings, and they are near perfect. If they weren't stained, I would swear they were new bearings. Well, maybe not quite, but they are just as I figured they were, considering how easy the crankshaft spun in it without having had real oil in it for a while. It is, absolutely no surprise to me. I'm going to go ahead and take these out. What I'm also going to do, not that I really believe that I have to, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to go ahead and see how the main journals look, as far as you want to make sure that they're in line, and the way that you do that is you throw your straight edge on there. Now, who knows? We'll see how it looks, but I don't think that there's any issues there. We'll see. All right. The block is pretty much ready to go. I may or may not take the plugs out. I'm not sure. When I talk to the machine shop, when I figure that out, I will make a decision then what I want to do. They do it every day. They know how to make this stuff happen. I'm not too worried about it. I could, and the reason you may ask, why am I going to take it to a machine shop and have them do a hot tank? Well, there's two reasons. First of all, I need to get those cam bearings replaced. I don't have the tool to do it. I have a small block, or Gen 1 small block installation tool, but it is about half an inch there's not enough diameter on it to make it happen. I'd have to buy a new tool in order to do that. Oh darn, a new tool. Well, what was I thinking? So actually, it would probably cost me less to have them just do it and not buy the tool, which is fine. When I have a little more money to blow on stuff, I will buy a new cam tool and cam bearing installation tool, and we'll be good with that. I'll just have them do all of the screw-in plugs as well as this guy right here that I was talking about. How about this guy right here that I was talking about? And just go from there. The other reason is, when they do a cleaning on it, they stick it in a rotisserie and they clean the crap out of these things. And when I could stand out here for a couple hours cleaning on this and still not be able to get it as clean as they can with a half hour in their heated chemical based sprayed on jetted rotisserie oven, whatever it is, I don't know. They do a lot of stuff with it, or have that ability, and they can get this really clean, including the oil passages, and that's a big deal. First startup, we want clean oil going through this thing. We don't want to be pushing dirt, junk, grime, which you can still see there's plenty of it on here. So those are the two main reasons, and of course it's easy. Okay, so that's the bottom line. And when you see this block next, well, you may see it in the peripheral, but when we talk about it next, it's going to be cleaned up and ready to go, so I can start doing my thing and building on it. And hopefully by then we'll have all the parts, and I'll be excited. You know it. All right. Till next time, guys, be well.